You guys sent me in your most brutal Pokemon Go fails. Today I'm reacting to them. This video is going to be a pain to record. Let's get into it. Okay, Luna, when Mega Rayquaza came out, I was raiding until I got this, but something came over me and I forgot to star the stinker and my finger double tapped. It would have been your third shiny ray, but you transferred it. Oh, I honestly, it kind of is hard for me to wrap my mind around how you accidentally transfer a shiny Rayquaza. I forgot to star and your finger double tap. Like your finger just automatically, I don't understand. That is brutal though. Hopefully you got some more from the recent raid day. Lena the One, I think my biggest fail is maxing this to 50. I needed to max some Pokemon for a level up challenge. Just happened to be one of my few Pokemon you had the Candy XLs for. Probably not a good idea. Honestly though, it's not even that bad. Again, I think people underrate like the difference IVs make. So even if this isn't a hundo or a 98 or anywhere close, like still a very useful Pokemon. Annihilate is still good. Honestly, yeah, like you say here, to add this is the biggest fail I can remember makes me feel pretty good about myself. Like, this is not that bad. I've seen people have worse things happen. I guess my biggest fail would be having transferred your shiny Reshiram back in 2021 when it was released. I went to raid for it, ended up getting a 2-star shiny. How do you accidentally transfer it? An evening I had 10 to 15 Reshirams in my storage. I decided I was tired and need more space. So I cleaned them out and transferred them one by one. Oh, and you didn't notice it was a shiny? Oh my God. That would so happen to me though. I could so accidentally do that because shiny Reshiram is not an obvious shiny, but anyway. I Master Ball Glare Moltres because it was the last one I needed to make up to match the CP range from other two. Then exactly 1 month you caught one without the Master Ball. I wouldn't even say this is a fail. I feel like that's a really good use of your Master Ball. I don't think you should think that's a fail, but still. My biggest fail is definitely this Purified Shadow Pinsir from James. Level 39, me simply didn't know better. This is where a lot of people always say like fails when you purify Pokemon. I think there are certain ones to purify that are worse than others. I think purifying shiny shadows is not that bad, especially if their IVs already suck, because you can't trade them away. They're just kind of flex in your storage. So if you purify it, at least you can like potentially trade it and use it as trade bait, but it's not the best thing to do in my opinion, but like it is subjective whether it's a fail or not. I think my biggest fail is transferring a Hundo Dratini, a wild one, without looking at the IVs. Always 4-star check. Always 4-star check. I can't say this enough. When I returned to Pogo back in 2023, wasn't really good at IV checking, only the raid one, so I transferred everything from raids. Okay, well, you know what? It's good when these things happen because you learn your lesson. My biggest fail is transferring a Hundo Frigibax during this year's Global Go Fest. Oh my God, the only Hundo, you have it in the Hundo Dex, but it's not there. How did it happen? Your storage was full and you're trying to catch a shiny Skiddo in the wild. Quickly transferred the Frigibax, thinking you had so many. What were the odds of it actually being a Hundo? When you check the Pokédex, I always have this thought in my mind when I transfer Pokemon, like, oh, it's probably not a Hundo, and you get lazy, you don't check. But this person actually got punished. It was a Hundo. There's proof in the Dex. Oh my God. Oh my God. That's brutal. That is a brutal fail. Yeah, I guess he gets his calm day. Not technically my fail, but it makes me cringe every time you think about it. My cousin caught 2 wild Mesprits, which is crazy lucky since Mesprit is one of the rarest wild spawns. He caught one at his house with the other house. After a few weeks, he comes back to flex his 0-star Guzzlord. I asked what he traded for it, and he got a mess. He traded away the Mesprit. Didn't have the heart to tell me he got scammed, but what he made it say is it's a W trade. This is a hard one because obviously Mesprit in the wild is rare, but if you have 2 and value is such a like subjective thing. So for him, Guzzlord, which arguably has more meta relevant use than Mesprit, it wouldn't actually be that bad of a trade, especially if you don't care too much. But definitely in terms of rarity, yes, you are technically getting scammed, especially if it's not a shiny Guzzlord. But still, I wouldn't say the worst fail, but a little brutal. I mirror traded my only shiny Ray. It was when I was still new to the game and I listened to him, and all I could remember say it was a high 3-star. Honestly, I don't think that's that bad. It's not amazing. It's much better to lucky trade because your IVs would get better. But again, still, like the IVs, the difference, I guess like your IVs probably got worse for sure. I still don't have shiny Mewtwo. My first 3, it was only in the X raids, ran away because I had a bad phone, huge legs, and couldn't hit most Premier Balls. You've seen 45. Okay, that's pretty bad odds to not have a shiny Mewtwo, but I feel like I've probably seen people, or there might be people here who have like over 100 checks with no shiny for a Pokemon. But that is still pretty brutal. I don't think it could be shiny technically when it first came out though, so I don't know if this includes non-shiny available checks. This fail was very recent. I had done Shadow Ground on weekend and got 2 purifiable hundos. One was a 12, 13, 15. The other one was a 15, 14, 15, I purified the first one to keep the 98 shadow while trying to tag and all that good stuff. You dropped your phone, ended up catching it while fumbling with it. I somehow hit it right and it got purified, hence the name. Now I'm stuck. Wait. Chat, I don't understand what y'all are doing to just accidentally like throw your phone. It's like in Happy Gilmore when he hits the ball and it's just bing, 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 and it goes into the hole. Like, what are you guys doing? Throwing your phone and then, oh, accidentally the phone taps into your storage, taps on Shadow Mewtwo Shiny and purifies it. That's brutal because that a 15, 14, 15 Shadow Groudon being purified. Oh my God. Well, you have a hundo Groudon if you needed one. I accidentally left my phone in my pocket and somehow it used my second Master Ball. What do you mean? I don't understand how you leave the phone in your pocket and it opens up the encounter and then it clicks Master Ball. That is brutal. That is brutal. It's hard for me to believe if these are legit or not. But I guess if your phone... Oh my God. So, okay, some of y'all just need to leave your phone. Don't touch it. Just leave it on the counter when you're not using it, you know? So nothing bad can happen to your account. Bro, I'm going to be like walking and phone in my pocket and it's just going to go into the settings and just delete my account somehow. Oh my God. I don't have a screenshot, but I accidentally transferred my clone Charizard when it was mass transferring costume Pokemon to make space. Oh, that sucks. That's definitely a classic situation though. Remember, this is why you always star the Pokemon you don't want to accidentally ever transfer. My dumb B back in 2021, 2022, not realizing that Shadow Pokemon are good and transferring your second Shadow Shiny Scyther thinking, oh, you already have one, I don't need a second. This is something I see so often. People are like, oh, I have a Shiny, so I don't need the other one. Let me just get rid of it. But you know what? At the end of the day, like, you still have hundos. So they're all still hundos. And technically, oh no, not 4-star, but still. In 2022, when a Cosmic Companion research has made its debut, I carelessly thought that Cosmog had the status of mythical despite it being a legendary. So my Neanderthal brain thought testing this was to transfer. Lo and behold, I learned Cosmog could be transferred. Lo and behold, you have to wait an entire year to get your first Lunala for the Starry Skies event. Yeah, so that's definitely a thing. Same thing, I think Zygarde is technically a legendary, although I don't know if you can actually transfer Zygarde. There's just a couple Pokemon that like you just technically can't transfer. But also, it's still important to know that you technically can transfer some mythical Pokemon. Like Genesect is a mythical, but you can still transfer it. It's just certain like mythicals that are like limited amount are like Mew, for example. You can't transfer Mew. Purify thinking this is great. Less Stardust and more CP. Lots of good IV ones. Again, classic situation. Again, I think the purifying, like, it's only a fail depending on the Pokemon. I think there's certain Pokemon, if you purify them, turn into the hundo, like Hippowdon, for example. It's not the worst thing to do. Hippowdon in the shadow form is not very useful, but like Kyogre, yikes. A lot of people purifying. Jones PTCG lover, another bunch of hundo purified Pokemon. Again, I always say, like, if you're going to purify, just catch the normal version, and then you have a shadow and a normal version for whichever one is best. Purifying this Shinx while not knowing it was rare, and I deleted my starter Pokemon at some point. Oh, this is the Top Hat Shadow Shinx. You could get an exclusive Top Hat Shadow Shinx during the Fashion Week from a rare electric type grunt. If you purify it though, I don't think it makes it any less rare just for the fact that it's purified and you can't get that Pokemon unless you got it in the shadow form and purified it. So I guess you could have gotten it from trade, but still. I don't know if this counts, but caught this and randomly during community and thought my game crashed or something. Bro, that's not a fail. This is actually like arguably one of the rarest Pokemon in the game. Everybody says the Shundo is the rarest, but a Shenando, a shiny with 0 IVs, is technically rare because you can actually only get these in the wild. So it is community, so it's not that rare because it has boosted shiny outs, but still, this is not a fail. This would be a fail, but also like an absolute W at the same time. Depends how you look at it. But yeah, it is funny when you actually click the IVs and then they don't load and you're like, oh, my game's like crashing or lagging. But it's like, no, those are the IVs you got, bro. You got the Nundo. Purifying Shadow Pinsir in 2021. Yeah, brutal. Not sure if this counts as a fail. When I was looking through my 100% IV Pokedex, I noticed I caught a Hundo Staryu, but I don't have it in my storage. I don't transfer Hundos. I might have transferred it back in 2016 when I didn't understand the IV system. Interesting. Okay, so you don't have the Hundo Staryu, but so same thing as the Frigibax. But yeah, I wonder if you don't remember transferring it and you're always checking for your Hundos, it could have been before the IV appraisal system when you had to kind of like read the lines of what they say. And one of them could have been a Hundo, but you wouldn't have known. My biggest fail is having these as hundos. Bro, Woody? He called his Sudowoodo Woody. Mystic 7 would like this, but honestly, put some respect on my boy Garbodor. He's underrated. He might be a big pile of trash, but when you get G-Max Soup and you can turn him into a G-Max Garbodor, might be good. This has been my first hundo in my Pogo account, but I took a break from 2019 to 2022, came back early 2023, decided to clear your storage since you didn't have enough space, and deleted it by accident. This was before the rework for the appraisal system. Okay, same situation. I'm actually curious if I go through my account and see what hundos I have, but they're not actually in my storage that I caught, but then I transferred away. That would be an interesting thing to do. Purified my first Shadow Shiny Beldum. I can't find the picture, but I got it on my 10th Beldum ever. Same with Mewtwo. Both are from Giovanni. Just a lot of purifications. Again, if you like purifying, go for it, but you all know my opinions on purifying. I don't think you should do it. Most likely. I don't travel very often, so the one time I was about to travel across the ocean, I decided to prepare by catching a handful of Furfroos before I left to change forms. Very smart. That was available there. So I could trade them with some of my friends, and you guess it, I was there for 3 weeks, and stupid me totally forgot to form change the Furfroos and realized the day you got back. This is such a classic situation. When you go to a new country, you're like, oh my god, regionals, new Pokestops to spins, new gyms, but then you forget there's a lot of things you can do in your account and Pokemon you can get in your account like the Furfroo form. So I always say, if you're gonna travel, make a notification to go ahead and mark to change them. A big fail from my brother's side, so no photo sadly, was a few years ago. I was explaining to my brother, he's around 30 years old when this happened, which I think just makes it worth it since it wasn't a kid. How Shadow Pokemon work, we know it's 20% more damage in both ways, but he didn't know that. When I told him Shadows are always DPS stronger in raids, and often it's bad to purify your Shadows, he then showed me a purified Hundo Metagross he caught a few days before, and he says it was a Shadow Hundo. The game doesn't tell us that Shadow Pokemon is in pain and we need to purify them, so that's what he understood. That might be, if I ever fell to the situation where I purified a Shadow Hundo to a to a purified Hundo, I might delete my account. That is brutal, especially a Shadow, oh my god, a Shadow Hundo Metagross. That one hurts. My biggest fail was leveling up this Ninetales. I was earlier in the game, I didn't know it was a level 1 shiny was rare. I don't know, is that a fail? Level 1 shinies are more of just a collector thing. I wouldn't argue that they're that rare because they're technically have the same rarity as every single other version of a Pokemon. I guess they are rare because they're like the bottom spectrum. But you think about it, there's a, 1 in 30 odds of catching a Pokemon at each level. So a Pokemon level 1 versus a Pokemon level 25 in the wild, the same odds. You know what I mean? But still, I guess, if you're into collecting level 1 shinies, then this does suck. My fail was on Calm Day, are new, and I evolved my Metang into Metagross on Calm Day, and after that, I found out I don't get the move Meteor Mash. I go crazy on Pokemon GO help desk. Then I found out when I was evolving, my GPS is not working, and that's why I don't get the move on Shiny Metagross, and that's why I called it Mistake-a-Gross. Oh yeah, it has Flash Cannon. I didn't even know that. If your GPS is not working or you're not connected via location, you won't get the move even if the time frame is right for Calm Day? That actually does suck a lot, especially if it was a good IV, but I don't know the IVs. Every time I look through my inventory, I'm reminded that back in 2020, I was so close to getting your first Shundo. You got the 96. It's technically a 96 IV. This is a classic fail. I have a whole tag of just my shiny 98 IVs, my basically Shundo Pokemon, but not Shundos. My biggest fail was trading away my EX Mewtwo in a normal trade. Is that a fail? I feel like it depends on if that Pokemon is important to you or not. But if the IVs were bad, then it's not bad to just trade random ones, especially if you have a lot of Mewtwo's. Not buying the second Cubfu was a fail, I guess, but you'll get another odds to get it. And you know, if you're not somebody who likes to spend money in the game, I don't think that's a fail, saving your money and using it on other things like food to survive, for example. When I look at my Hundo decks, I noticed a Hundo Quaxley registered, but it's nowhere to find alongside my other Hundos. Must have transferred it without noticing. Wow, okay, so a lot of people have this situation where they have Hundos, but they accidentally transfer them. Good to know people can go back and look at that. When I looked at my Hundo Pokedex, I noticed I had 38 100% IV Pokemon, but only 34 in my inventory. You know why? It's probably because you evolved some. Like theoretically, Hoot Hoot evolving to Noctowl would count as 2 Pokemon versus 1. So that's probably why. Task failed successfully. The 23rd of December. Okay, Swinub ran. Oh, I guess You hit level 40, but you didn't catch your 999th Exxon throw? Or no, this is level 40. Wait, I don't understand. You didn't catch it, but you still leveled up to level 40. I can't wait for the Christmas background, to be honest. Yeah, okay, I don't really understand that fail, but I guess it's a fail. I guess fail is accidentally powering up a Palkia that's 82% and not realizing it wasn't my 96 until it was almost 50 max. So I called it a waste of dust. That is actually brutal. It is a lucky though. It is a lucky. So it was half the amount of dust to purify, I will say. So not as much of a waste of dust. But yeah, that is brutal when you have a good IV one and you accidentally power up the wrong one, especially all the Candy XLs. That's brutal. My biggest fail in Pogo was fusing a shiny Zekrom. In my defense, I thought it would make my Kyurem rarer. I don't think this is a fail at all, bro. What do you mean? Black Kyurem is a goat. That's not a fail. Magnemite line was my favorite Pokemon when I evolved my Shadow 1-star rotation. There was one me and my friend, as named below, saw one in the park and we were sitting in the issue, bucketing with rain. She told me to go for it, but be quick and better be good. Lo and behold, the following result. Oops, still one of my favorite Magazones on my account though. She found it funny. Moral of the story, however, is don't leave your friend in the rain for a Shadow Raid. Might just be a 0-star. Honestly, is this the IV floor? It looks like a 777. I think this is a 777, or is it a 666? It could be the IV floor. Is it a little bit of a fail, but also arguably as rare as a hundo. After Flabébé accumulated, I went and transferred all the Flabébés I wasn't planning on keeping. When I did my filters through for it, I forgot to include my save filter and just used 0-star, 1-star, 2-star for a quick transfer. Turns out I transferred all my red Flabébé when I visited Spain in May and June, and my blue fire Flabébé from Univitor, except a few that were 3-star. I was very fortunate to have a 3-star one for both colors. I was pretty sad to lose those few you saved from Spain. Definitely unfortunate. This is why I always say put a star, and then any Pokemon that are important to you, put them in a special tag, but always favorite them. Literally don't even know why I purified this. It was a 15-14-14 Shadow Ground originally, and I gave it the Shundo pressure. 10 minutes, I couldn't realize I'd rave for a Shundo Ground when Primals returned, so I guess say hello to fingernails. You call them... I never noticed Groudon has really big fingernails. Honestly, this is a fail, but I also understand if there's a primal form of the Pokemon and you don't have that many Groudon XL candies and you're only really going to ever have one Groudon maxed out, that's only realistic for you, then purifying it for the primal form is not the worst. But again, 15-14-14 is a brutal purify, especially if it's a shiny. Pretty new player. When I started playing Pokemon Go, I would transfer a lot of Pokemon to home for the living dex. I had no idea you can only get one of each mythical, so I ended up moving my Diancie and Meloetta home. Rip Mega Diancie. Oh my god. This is brutal and something I actually don't even think about. But yeah, if you move your Pokemon to a different game, then you can't bring it back. So anybody who plays Pokemon Go, for the aspect of transferring Pokemon to Pokemon Home, there's certain Pokemon you can never get back in the game. So definitely sucks, especially if you get more into Pokemon Go than Pokemon Home after the fact. But I guess if you retire your Pokemon Go account, then I would consider doing this. My brother helped me to catch my first Shadow Shiny, which was Scyther from Jesse and James. Decided to purify without telling him when I was showering. Oh, he purified it when you were showering. I wouldn't have minded if it was a normal grunt, but it was from Jesse and James, which made it more rare. Man, that's kind of mean, to be honest. That is kind of mean, in my opinion. I did meet Daxie and did not ask for a trade. Next time. Ask me for a trade next time. This is my biggest fail so far, but I had to do it. 3 days after the server issue that prevented Pokemon from being caught, I encountered this. I've grinded 8 months, caught 15 Galarian birds, from which 2 of them were Shiny Galarian Articunos and Shiny Galarian Zapdos. So I had to finally complete the dex. P.S. I challenged myself to catch every single Galarian bird without trading for one. You ended up catching it. But was the issue solved? Let me just say, thank God they solved the issue so you could have caught it. I wonder if you would have Master Balled it when the issue was still active, if the Master Ball still worked. Or is that what you did? I'm not sure. But congratulations on the set. This is probably my biggest fail of the account. Luckily, I traded for the Shundo Dynamax Beldum immediately after it happened. I like to think the IVs were worth the price. You got the 10-10-10. That's tough. That's tough. Again, as rare as a hundo, but brutal for a Pokemon like Cubfu, which is kind of useful. But you did get the Shundo. Oh, another terrible IV to turn it this. I would argue this is worse than a 10-10-10. A 10-10-10, at least a 10-10-10 is rare because it's the lowest, but this is just almost the worst, but not the worst. Okay, we have a video. Galarian Zapdos, 238 CP. This is almost, if you had Iceburn Adventure Effect active, this would almost be a guaranteed catch. Ultra Ball, it's still a red circle. Excellent throw. Okay, come on, this has to catch. 2 shakes at least. That's just unlucky, bro. That's just unlucky, man. That's just unlucky. Go Plus Plus was already on before I saw the spawn, clicked on it, and it ran away. Oh, no. Losing the shiny Galarian Zapdos. No shiny Galarian bird since then. The Rattata caught right before. This is why you never check the journal, because this would kill me. Thought I had purified a Hundo Ursaluna, miscounted like a rookie, and was one IV short of glory. Still powered up the Muddy Bear anyway. So you purified to the 98 because you thought it was a Hundo. Yeah, that's pretty brutal. It might not seem like a fail since it didn't end up in a great... It did end up being a great option to Mega, but this was initially a 98 Shadow, and you called it Dark Daxi, and it wasn't until after you purified it that you realized which one you purified. I guess you're right. You can Mega it. Ugh, but it was a 98 Shadow. Okay, we have another clip. Okay, whoa. We're using AR mode? What's going on? What was that? Well, how did it just run? And why are we using AR mode to catch Galarian Articuno? Wait, I don't understand. You didn't even get to throw the Pokeball. To be honest, the fact that you're in AR mode did not set you up for success, but that is brutal. People, you can't be unlucky with one Pokemon. Metagross, is that a dare? Oh my God, you have 1, 2, 3, 98/96 Metagrosses. This is me and Rayquaza. It took me so long to get a Hundo Rayquaza. Accidentally purified when it was a 15, 14, 14 Shadow. Why does everyone do this? It took 1 year to complete this research with only mediocre IVs. Okay, you finally got the Celebi. Shiny Celebi. Is that even a fail though? I feel like these researches are supposed to take a long time to complete. Let's see the IVs though. Imagine you get the Shenando. Okay, we got the screenshot. We're locked in. Yeah, brutal. But honestly, this is just the most average Pokemon Go player experience. Here's a big Pokemon Go fail. Purifying your near perfect Shadow Mewtwo. Get 14, 15. You're gonna do... No! Don't! Ah, why would you do that? No, dude. It's not worth it. What is this music? If you guys want to enter a Discord video, join the Discord link below and watch these other 2 Discord videos on screen if you want to see me react to more things from you guys. This one hurt. This one hurt. Please don't make these mistakes. Follow for more tips. Peace.